The state of the gaming industry right now kind of seems to be on like a downward slope between PlayStation doing the PlayStation thing that everybody knows what's going on there. So I just want to mention a YouTube channel called Inside Games Daily that I've kind of recently come onto, but I feel like I'm pretty sure they've been around for a while now. They've broken down a lot of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today. So to me and everybody else, it pretty much seems like Sony's only making this decision just because of profit.
Hello, I like money.
Some of the points that I have here that I want to talk about is, I guess I'll go ahead and hit one, although I'll probably deep dive into it later. But where's it at?
I got this!
When it comes to physical releases, obviously they have to go to the retailers. The retailers get a cut of that. I don't know exactly the ins and outs of like what the exact dollar amount is, but to make this as simple enough to where I could explain this to my children, that's how I'm gonna explain it here because I'm stupid. So if you go to GameStop and buy a brand new, just say God of War game, say that's like $70. The numbers specifically don't matter, but it's just what they stand for is what matters, if that makes sense. GameStop gets about $20 of that, right? Where the rest of it goes to Sony. Whereas if you're on the PlayStation store directly and you download that and purchase it directly from the PlayStation store, that is all going to PlayStation. It does get dispersed some here and there to the studio, the distributor, the publisher, whatever the heck. I don't want to get into all that. The only reason they're getting rid of physical is because they want that extra $20 that GameStop has been getting all these years. So what are some things that could happen with PlayStation getting absolutely reamed on every single post that they make, with no disc, no buy, physical forever? They're getting absolutely hounded, and I've contributed to that, I'm not gonna lie. I'm contributing to the problem for sure, because a lot of the games that I have are digital, and it is because of that convenience that I brought up earlier. And also impulse buy, I'm not even gonna lie. I could go get my physical stack that's in my bedroom right now, and I think altogether it's probably about 8 games maybe, where if you look on my PlayStation library, I have at least 30 something games in my library. Now some of those are like the PlayStation Plus monthly, you know, you can play this for free, or like it's some of the classics catalog that I would really have no other way of playing if it wasn't for having older consoles here that I could use them with that older disc. My biggest concern with this is game preservation. That's about it for me, and for a lot of people it goes a little bit further than that. There's more arguments to be made for why physical is so important, especially with like the secondhand market and everything like that. But game preservation for me is the biggest thing, and I'm going to touch on that at the end, where I'm going to kind of talk about where I think we can still preserve games. So what are some things that if for some reason Sony does decide, which I don't see that happening, but if Sony does decide to take a step back, if not altogether just retract that statement and then just act like it never happened, what are some things that they could do where Sony still kind of sort of gets what Sony wants, but we also get what we want at the same time? I think there is a middle ground that I feel like not enough people are talking about. First and foremost, I'm going to say renegotiate the margins with the retailers. Like I was saying earlier, if GameStop is getting $20 on a $70 game and you're only getting $50, maybe renegotiate that a little bit. Yeah, sure, GameStop's gonna hate that, but I'm pretty sure the GameStop CEO just came out and said that he doesn't really give a shit about them canceling physical releases because their store and their company has changed and morphed into something. I don't even know what the fuck that means. They're called GameStop, but he's all but pretty much said that like it probably won't really affect GameStop. So if I'm Sony and I see that, and then I see all the fans over here and all of my supporters are blasting me for my decision, and then GameStop, the #1 gaming retailer, is over here saying that they don't really give a shit about it, I have room to renegotiate margins with. If y'all really don't give a shit, well then instead of you getting $20 and us getting 50, how about you get 5 and we get 65? Since you clearly don't give a shit, I feel like you have some room to work with now.
You're a combination of spontaneous combustion and ADD mixed together. I'm not kidding. It's very difficult to listen to you.
Now, whether or not it is as simple as that, I mean, I know for sure it's not as simple as that, but I feel like that is something that could be done. Is it going to be the degree that I'm talking about, where GameStop only gets $5?
Change me.
All right. Oh, man, get my $5.
All right, bro.
Man, get my $5, man. Ah!
If you gave a shit, Sony, renegotiate some of those margins with some of your retailers like Walmart, Target, GameStop. Fucking GameStop. Another idea that's probably not that flattering is raise the price of games altogether.
Shut your stupid ass up!
If we're being honest, games have been around the same price. Now, this is something that I've gotten from those videos I mentioned earlier from those channels I had talked about, but I didn't even think about it this way, but games have been about the same price since like the 90s, early 2000s, and even with inflation, we've kind of been reaping the benefits of games staying the same price for decades at this point. I remember whenever $70 all of a sudden started to become the new normal, and I was like, damn, that's crazy.
Oh, hell.
But I mean, if we've been paying 60, 70 sometimes dollars for the past 20 years, if you make 80 the new normal, I mean, I kind of understand it. It still sucks, but if that means we get to keep physical discs, I'm willing to pay $80 for a physical disc if it means that's going to stay around. Only make a select number of physical discs with like a deluxe edition or like collector's editions. They're literally called collector's editions. Why the fuck is there not a physical disc with that? I have a quick story just to kind of ramble about. God of War Ragnarok, when that came out, I had the Ultimate Omega Deluxe where it came with this, it came with this hammer, Thor's hammer. This is a nice hammer, and it's got some weight to it. Bro, could you, well, this is YouTube, I probably shouldn't say what I was thinking, but you know what I was thinking, like, what the fuck? Some dice, some little figurines, a whole backdrop, like a mosaic kind of piece. Can you focus, motherfucker? Damn. It was a whole and the steelbook that came with it too was beautiful. And I went for the midnight release. It was actually on my birthday.
Happy birthday, happy birthday.
Went for the midnight release. I was standing in line with all these people. I was telling them that like it was my birthday and this was like one of the best ways to spend my birthday was doing this for the midnight release. Everybody was hype. Went in there, I had to hold the whole like collector's box. A lot of people just went in there for the physical copy, and then I walked out with this big ass box and people were kind of staring. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of made me feel cool. But whenever I got home, I pop open the steelbook and there's no physical game in there. It's a code for me to digitally download it on a collector's edition. I guess I didn't really think much of it. I was really confused as to why I didn't have a physical disc, and I even ended up calling GameStop saying, why didn't I get a physical disc with this? And they said that specific collector's edition did not come with a physical disc, even though I got a steelbook, but it was just an empty steelbook. I don't understand why that happened. If there was a physical disc in there, I feel like that would kind of just wrap the whole thing up with a nice little bow. And it would make sense to me if I'm going to have a collector's edition, I could have a physical disc with it. And that's part of the collector's edition. And I feel like we can start doing that if you want to cut back on how much physical disc you're manufacturing and you want to cut back on the profits that the secondhand markets are making, then only make the physical discs with these super expensive releases that you're doing, the super deluxe ultimate Omega $100 version where, yeah, GameStop, maybe they're still getting that $20, but instead of you only getting 50, now that the customer is buying the collector's edition, the Omega Ultimate whatever edition, that's where that margin kind of comes into play where you're getting a lot more of that. So maybe you're kind of offsetting the cost. I don't know. I don't want to get into math too much because I'm not a math person and I'm not really a finance person. I don't really understand the ins and outs of that, but I feel like there's got to be an argument there for what I'm talking about. Release physical discs before the digital. And what I mean by that is whenever you pre-order something, which by the way, do not pre-order anything ever. What is the point in pre-ordering GTA 6 right now? They're not gonna run out of it. It's digital only. What are you pre-ordering? It used to be you pre-order something because you were kind of worried that they were going to run out of it by the time you got to the store the day of release and they're not going to have it, so now you can't play it day of release. So you pre-order it so that whenever you get there, tell them your name, they give you your card. It's basically just like holding it for you. That's pre-ordering it. But if you pre-order something digital that's not going to sell out, what is the point? I don't want to make this video about pre-ordering, but don't fucking do it. But I feel like physical before digital would work, where you say, I don't know, November 1st, we're dropping God of War. Just keep in line with what I'm talking about. We're releasing God of War on disc, and it doesn't hit digital until 2 or 3 days after, right? If the thirst and the want to play that game is as high as it is, and you're releasing the physical 2 or 3 days before the digital comes out, you're going to get that trend that they're seeing where the market is going like this for physical. It's going to immediately go the other direction because people are only buying digital because they don't have to leave the house to play the game. If they had to leave the house to play the game, they're going to do that. I know I will. Now, to Sony, does that really matter? Probably not, because they're going to do this irregardless of whatever we have to say. We can comment on every single post and say physical forever, no disc, no buy. We can do the whole shebang on. And also, what kind of sucks is like some of these PlayStation studios, or that PlayStation owns, like Sony Santa Monica or Insomniac. Hello? They're kind of getting drugged through it too, and I feel bad for them because they're trying to promote Wolverine right now that comes out pretty soon, and pretty much all of their posts are getting the same hate, but it's not Insomniac's fault. It's not Sony Santa Monica's fault. I would honestly love to see Xbox come out and say that they're going to continue with physical, with Project Helix or Xbox Series X, Y, whatever the fuck they're gonna name it. Nikki Jakey did a video on this pretty recently in his second channel, Ball Creative. I highly recommend you check it out, where he mostly talks about the Xbox side of things. But if Xbox comes out and says that they're gonna continue with physical, I, in a heartbeat, and I feel like a lot of other people would, even with all the bullshit that's going on with Xbox right now, with all the layoffs and all that Asha Sharma bullshit. Asha Sharma? I'm so sorry. Like a lot of people would switch over to Xbox just like it's the Xbox 360 days all over again. The good thing about Xbox 2 is that they kind of do like the shared PC and console at the same time, which I believe Project Helix is trying to do that. I even have the Xbox app on my computer right now, and some of the games that I play is on that app. Now, we can talk about like Game Pass and all that bullshit if we wanted to, but for the sake of this video, I'm not going to touch that right now. I'm mostly just saying that if Xbox says, yes, with our console versions, we're going to continue to support physical, I think 100%, even though I love PlayStation exclusives, I would switch over to Xbox. I also kind of wish that Sony would like let a lot of these studios maybe these studios could run out of contract with Sony, and then Sony wants to re-up and keep these studios under their belt, but then they just say, no, we're good, we're going to be independent, or somehow they can renegotiate where, yeah, we'll remain a Sony studio, but we're going to continue to do physical releases, and with you guys, it doesn't have to be physical, but with Xbox or Nintendo or whoever else we want to release our games on, those will be physical releases. PlayStation just won't have a physical release, even though we are a PlayStation-owned company. I don't know, I feel like there's got to be something there. Maybe that kind of goes with some of my other arguments. I haven't really thought that one all the way through, because I don't really see how that one would work necessarily. PC gaming in general is really the only way to start preserving games from now on. And I hate to say that, like, go from PlayStation, who's trying to go digital, all digital, to then get on a computer and play games digitally. That kind of seems like a backwards way of thinking, but I guess my biggest point is a word that I should probably censor, but it kind of rhymes with simulation. Just take out the S. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? Fuck it. Emulating games is pretty much the only way to preserve them. You have games that me and my brother play on his channel where some of those games we would never be able to find. We do have older consoles that will play some of these games on, but if I'm being honest with you, some of them are kind of simulated Wink. But if those studios that are clearly not making those games anymore, or these companies like Sony, Microsoft, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, whoever, they're obviously not going to say, oh, you remember that one Harry Potter game from way back in the day? Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for the Game Boy Color? Yeah, we'll keep printing those because there's like 5 people that want to play. No, they're not going to do that. So the only way to necessarily preserve that game so that anybody at any given point can play it, instead of trying to hunt it down on eBay for an exorbitant price, or go to your local flea market and just hope somebody has a stand that has old physical games on there that you can get, pray to God that it works. The only way to really capture that art and be able to retain it and preserve it is through simulation. Wink. I like double winks. If these companies are not willing to preserve what they fucking create, then I guess we're gonna have to do it ourselves. And I think that's why Steam, PC gaming in general, or porting games over needs to be talked about more. And unfortunately, it does seem like it has just come down to the consumer, us. We obviously have the power because we can tell them what we want with our money and how we spend it. I don't agree with what PlayStation's doing, and it's gonna suck if Xbox goes, yeah, we're gonna keep going physical, and then I'm like, I wanna support physical, so I'm gonna hop over to Xbox, but I don't have a PlayStation anymore, and then they're gonna keep dropping new games with the PlayStation 6 and shit that I'm 100% not gonna get, because it's gonna cost $1,000 fucking dollars, probably more than that. It's another thing I haven't even talked about. The cost of all these consoles is going up and up and up. I'm gonna miss out on stuff that I grew up on, PlayStation exclusives. The ride fucking sucks. I'm ready to get off the ride now, because I feel like a lot of people, including me, can see that we're heading straight into a fucking cliff, or straight into a fucking nosedive, if you will. And I don't think I want to be on the ride for that. So I hope you got something useful out of this video. It's mostly me just kind of rambling. Hopefully I'll throw in some memes here and there and make it funny. But yeah, that's kind of